What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start off with Selon. Castle level is an 18, so let's jump into it. I should also probably start noting some of these castles, what their hero that actually runs it and validates it is. It might actually explain why certain castles look certain ways. It'd be interesting. So I might start taking a look at that because I can see the hero levels on the same page. All right, so. It looks like there's probably not a mine in here. I think there should be, because most people, if people go up this way, they're not going to want to go all the way back over these spike traps. I'll just double check that there isn't a mine. It looks like there might actually be one, never mind. Or this might be the way through the castle. I was just kind of scrolling my mouse over there because I thought that would be a dead end, but it looks like it wasn't. Okay, so there are some mines in here. If that's all that's in here, let me take a look. I kind of want to actually go back now and see what's on the other side, because it looks like this might be the main way through. Which makes sense, you want to force people to go over most of the spike traps. So let me take a look as to what's up here beforehand. There might be just one mine up here, or even nothing. I hope there's a mine up here. Alright, cool. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty standard for almost every castle these days. If they don't put traps throughout their entire castle to create constant trap pressure, then they probably have a mine off into a different room like this. And also with spike traps, although these ones only have 2 panels active, so it's not nearly as big of a deal. But with spike traps, you can actually have a part of your castle that doesn't have any trap pressure, and people won't want to backtrack over multiple spike traps like this, so it'll make them take too much damage. Even if they do walk backwards over it, they'll take too much damage and probably end up dying. Alright, so we've got fire mine. The only problem is with this specific fire mine trap is there's too many mines and not enough springboard traps. It's too easy for me to... Oh, also, there's actually something that I want to note here, specifically that I've seen recently. You can stand inside of this mouse wheel, and I can actually start gaining myself some stun immunity, and I can actually hit your first springboard trap, and I will be able to get right back up and start moving again. You should never put mouse traps in front of your springboard traps when you're trying to do this setup. It does not work. For this specific reason, as an attacker, if you ever see that happen, you can sit here and you can kind of just sit inside of these mouse wheel traps, and as you do this, you'll get stunned less and less, and that stun immunity will build up and actually work on these traps, and then you'll just kind of get thrown a little bit instead of being thrown and knocked down. So you only want to put jelly wells there if you're going to put something in front. That's the first thing that I'll note. And then the second thing is you should have at least 1 more springboard trap, possibly 2 more, to actually make this work well. Because if I can just leap directly over it, since there's only 2 of them, I'll be able to leap directly over it, and I won't even really ever ever land on top of the springboard trap. The reason why there's 4 is because that's the maximum distance of roll, where you'll still land on a springboard trap. So you kind of have to either have spiral shot, or you have to at least do that to one of them, and then walk on top of it and jump over it. Anyway, so I don't die. Let's actually kill this stuff. See if I can group everything up a little bit better. And then I'll wait for this Defendatron to get away, and drop a volley on the Zeeks, and then finish everything else off. It wouldn't be this easy if I was actually his level, though. But yeah, there's a couple things that I should know. I should actually do a video on certain trap setups and what to do and what not to do. I might do that eventually, because I've seen things like this with mouse traps and then springboard traps in front, and people don't understand really how stun immunity works, and they might not even know that it exists in the game actually, because I don't think there's anything in the tutorials about it, and it's just something that got added, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. And because of that, you can kind of abuse some of these setups where some attackers might not know it, but as an attacker that does know it, it makes things a lot easier. I've done it a couple times to different castles that I've been attacking, and it makes it almost impossible for a fire trap to work if there's mouse wheel traps in front, and the attacker knows about that stun immunity thing. The same thing can work if you have, let's say that there's a springboard trap set up here, if you have your first springboard trap to throw them back towards the room, you can actually just step on this, get thrown back, step on this, get thrown back, and then go for it, and you'll have at least some stun immunity. And it won't be as good as a mouse wheel trap amount of stun immunity, but it'll be better than nothing. And you probably will be able to make it out of the fire trap. Either way, we'll jump into, I believe, number 2 in just a second. Alright, for number 2 we have AlphaRaptor. His main class is a mage. So let's jump into it. Level 21 castle.
Watch and learn.
Alright, I need to make sure that there's no mines in these areas. There's 2 different... okay, never mind. I was going to say there's 2 different areas to go, so I have to check both, but... it turns this way. Alright, so there's a bunch of springboard traps here. The only reason... I would have just stepped on these because I didn't notice them, but I did notice all the flare mines beforehand. So how exactly am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to try to trigger these, but I'm not very good at this yet. Alright, then I probably can do this. And then I just used a potion during the middle of that, just in case I was going to die, but I don't think I was going to. The jelly wall is a nice touch. If I did it perfectly with both roll and spiral shot, I could have done it. Also, just being able to do this in general is, you know, I could have been able to just do this the whole way along. And the reason for that is because the jelly wall is only on one side, so I can walk around the ballista trap and do it there. Usually the jelly walls are what prevents people from actually cutting across those spike trap or springboard traps, because you have to walk through this jelly wall and then try to like do that while you're being slowed and being hit by ballistas. The ballistas are important as well, because you have to force some damage on them, so they don't have all the time in the world to do it. At least that's what stops me from doing it when I'm attacking castles. Alright. So I like this kind of setup. There's a lot of damage to be had here with all the ballistas and jelly walls and stuff. It forces out a lot of damage, but I'm not sure if it forces out enough damage to make it worth like the cost of things. That's pretty deadly. If someone gets hit by that and like, if you roll past this, let me actually kill this stuff before I talk about it so I don't die. Alright, so if you roll through this jelly wall here, and you're not noticing what's coming at you, and you roll through this and then you get hit by the Cyclops back into the jelly wall, and you don't have like spiral shot or another form of a way to get out of this, and your roll's on cooldown because you rolled through this, all 3 Zeeks might hit you and you might die. So that's kind of a cool little kill zone that he has set up there. Alright, then finish off the mines. If I don't miss. Okay, awesome. Alright, so yeah, pretty good castle. We will jump into number 3 in just a second. Alright, and lastly we have HerrDamit. Castle level is a 20. I didn't look at the hero that went through it. I believe I saw an archer, but I'm really not sure. So we'll just run through it normally. Alright, so just kite off enough of them so that you can easily roll across and not take the damage. 3 generally isn't enough, you really need 4, and this is kind of a good example of why I say that you should have 4 in a row, and then some sort of like a jelly wall so you can't kite the first one. Because 3, if I roll and then run, I can get across them without getting flung. Whereas if there was another one here, it would go off as I'm like stepping across. Because if I just roll, it lands me on the 3rd. So with a roll and keeping the walk afterwards, that 4th one you'll be walking straight across it and you'll generally get flung as you're doing that. But if you can kite the first one and then roll, you'll be able to land on that 4th. So you want to have something to stop them from actually being able to kite across that first one, which is usually a jelly wall and a bunch of ballista traps around it. Even 2 jelly walls I've seen some people use, even up to like 4 jelly walls, which is kind of insane. Like that's too much, I would say, to devote to that one kill zone. Because it's not always going to work, obviously, or else you wouldn't be able to get through your own castle. There's another one here, I believe, yeah. This one actually flings you backwards. It looks like both of them fling you backwards, which is kind of weird. I don't know the purpose of that, really. It's not really going to make you take any extra damage, because there's not like a ton of ballistas on the other side or anything. So I'm really not sure the purpose of that one. I could see it better if you got flung like inside of the jelly wall and all 3 ballistas hit you or something. That would at least add a little bit more damage. Alright, and a bunch of spike traps. I'm just going to kind of roll over them. Normally I would sit there and try to time it out, but they're not going to do enough damage to me because I'm 4 levels over, 5 levels over. Alright, this one, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. I think that's that's a springboard trap. But I don't think there's any more of them. That's scary though. Getting pushed down that hallway and not having any form of escape, with 2 Zeeks firing at you, is probably pretty deadly. They're still dodgeable when you're inside of that hallway, like you can move from one side to the other, but it's a lot more difficult than if you had a ton of room, or if you had roll or something available. So that's pretty good. Alright. So that is the end of that castle and the end of the 3 that we were doing today. So we're going to end the video here. As always, if you guys enjoyed, please subscribe. If you want to be a part of ViewerCastles, you can email me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. Taking level 16 castles and above only for right now. Probably actually forever. And I might even increase that to like 20 at some point. But for right now, 16 is fine. I'm not getting too many requests where I can't handle it anymore. That's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time.